Okay, so we've just finished our page 2, which looks like this. This comes all the way out, and now we are going to move on to page 3. So this is what page 3 looks like. We've got 2 flaps down here, one that goes up, and a pocket there. All right, so that is 1 B piece, 1 C piece, and 1 D piece. All right, so let's get those pieces. So this is 1 B, 1 C, and 1 D. We're gonna get our next base page. What have I done with my base pages? All right, so our base page, the opening is going to be on the left-hand side. We are going to first put our B piece down at the bottom of the base page. Where's my bone folder? Crease all those lines. Remove the sides first and then the bottom, remember how we did it with the other pocket? So sides, then the bottom, so it's like attached, and the corners, and then remove the bottom. Tape backing. This is going to go right down onto the front of your base page, just like this. Okay, so now you've got a pocket. Then your B piece is going to go right at the top of your base page. Awesome. And now we're going to take our D piece and we're going to cut it right in half. Okay, so our pieces are just shy of 7.5. So we're going to go almost to 3 3/4, just shy of that, and cut it in half. And try then I like to kind of put them together, and if one is a smidge bigger than the other one, I'll just trim that little smidge off. So it's hard to get a perfectly even half when you've got an odd number. Okay, put your trimmer away. We're just gonna re-miter those 2 corners. This is what happens when magnets are involved on your craft table. And just miter those 2 corners. And then fold and crease those lines, and they are going to go at the bottom on the right and the left of your B piece. Okay, so 1 on the left at the bottom, and they're going to go right to the edge, and then 1 on the right at the bottom. If you don't want these to go all the way to the edge, you can trim them a little bit. In fact, I'm going to trim this one just a tiny bit just so it doesn't interfere with the closing of the other one. So I might just use my scissors and just trim it just a smidge. See, and then now this one doesn't interfere with the closing of it. So these are going to go over top of the C piece, just like that. All right. I'm going to trim just a smidge off this one as well, I think. So I'm going to hold it this way. It's easier for me to trim. Taking off maybe 1/8 of an inch, just so it's easier to pull up and doesn't overlap. Okay, so I've just taken like a tiny little bit off each one. And now I'm just going to put one set of magnets on the two D pieces to keep it closed. So I'm going to add the magnets in a slightly different way because I'm just going to put pattern paper here and here. I might not put it on the insides. I haven't decided yet. So if you want an alternative way of adding a magnet, we're going to put just a little tiny piece of score tape on the front here. And I'm just going to put one magnet here instead of two, after I get rid of all my charms from the top of it. Okay, so one magnet. And then I'm going to take another magnet and let it just find its buddy on the back side, and then put a little bit of score tape on that. And then take the backing off and close it down. So now you've got a magnet on this piece and a magnet on this piece. So the ones on the open part are free of magnets. So if you decide you want to keep those without paper, you can do so. Okay, so now we just have to decorate this. I'm going to get a few of my pieces together and I will come back and put it on with you. Okay, so I started to get my pieces together, and in all honesty, I have no idea what my plan was. I had a whole bunch of randomly seemingly cut pieces, and I have no idea what I was planning on doing with them. So I ended up pretty much just recutting everything. I don't know what my plan was. So this is what I came up with. And they were all inked and everything. So at some point I did have a plan, some kind of jigsaw puzzle of all these random pieces. But this is what I ended up doing. So still got, I wanted it to kind of, I always like it to kind of match the other page. But I had no pieces of yellow that were big enough to fit any of the spaces. They were all just tiny little pieces, so I'm going with this. And I know this is opening to the side, and normally I wouldn't put some, if I put it here, it kind of looks like it's opening down, but I want it to match the other page, so I'm going to put it here and hope that I kind of remember, I suppose. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the bottom of this and go from there, I guess. Most of the time I can figure out my plans, but this plan eluded me completely. I don't know what kind of puzzle I was going to create here. So I've got this square also backed on chipboard to kind of match the other corresponding page. I'm going to put this, I'm going to maybe open this up as I adhere it so that I know that I'm not going too far. I want it kind of in the middle, like that. Before I glue it down, let me just make sure. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, I might put some green here. Do I want purple there? On the inside so far, I'm using another one of those pieces that I made in that Distress Ink lifting kind of tutorial. I'm going to have green in the pocket. I'm going to leave the two sides blank. Yeah, I guess I'll go green here. Kind of keeps it all cohesive. Okay, I might, should I put something up here maybe? Maybe I should use another one of these triangles. Yeah, let's do that, just so it's covered. Got one of these left, so should fit perfectly, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm just gonna ink it up and then put that there. Okay. All right, fantastic. I'm going to put something in the pocket later on. I'm going to get all these out of the way. I'm going to save them though, just in case I do happen to need them. Okay, so that was page 3. Now I will show you what page 4 will look like. Okay, so page 4 opens up and down and to the side, and then we've got a pocket here, and the whole thing opens to the side. Oh, and then we've got another piece that opens like that. So I kind of have a plan for this one, I think. There's a lot of pieces on this one too. Okay, so that closes, that closes, that closes like that. All right, so this page is 2 D's and 2 A's. Okay, so it's actually, sorry, my bad folks, it is 2 A pieces, 1 D and 1 E that is cut in half, plus a hinge. So that changes our count from the beginning just slightly, but I'll put the count of pieces in the description box below so that everyone can stay on track. Maybe I'll put it on the first part of the tutorial so you can check it out. Okay, so now that I know what it is I'm doing, we can continue. Okay, so grab that base page. The D piece is going to go on the left-hand side. So we've just taken this page and we've flipped it over, okay? So make sure it's the right way up. Okay, so you got your D on the left-hand side. Okay, and then we are going to put one of the A pieces onto that D facing inwards. Okay, so the first A is going to go on top of the D with the opening facing inwards here. Okay, the other A, we're going to cut off, you can use your trimmer or your scissors, we're going to cut off the long 1/2 inch section. Okay, and then we are going to cut what's left right in half, so you can either just fold it like this and cut it with scissors, or you can cut it with your trimmer, whatever you prefer. And those are going to go at the top and bottom of the first A. And they're going to meet in the center. Okay, just like that. And now open up the D piece, and we're going to attach the E into the onto the base page. I'm going to trim just a smidge off here just so everything closes really smoothly. Don't know if that was straight. It was not. Should really use my trimmer for things like this. Okay, so we're going to cut a hinge. To go right here. So this is the folded part of the E. I'm going to cut a hinge. This is just an easy way to measure it. Put some score tape on the either side of the score line here on the valley side. Fold it over. Line to the corners. So now you have something that looks like that. Okay, remove 1/2 of the backing. And we're going to attach that to, so we're going to attach it to the folded edge of the E. Okay, so here's the fold. Alright, and then we're going to attach that centered top to bottom onto the base page. Now you can close this however you want. I have it so that 1/2 of the E goes underneath the D, and then this part goes over top. You could have it go under the A's. You could have both parts underneath the D. It's totally up to you. Okay, so that is your page 4, and now we just need to decorate it. So I'm going to puzzle out my pieces, and I'll be back because there seems like there's a lot of them again. So I want to make sure that I have it all organized first. So one moment. Okay, so I figured out where my paper is going, but I wanted to add a couple magnets. So I'm first going to add one going from this part of the E. So this is the second half of the E going onto the A pocket. Okay, like that. And then I want to close these with a magnetized swing tab. So I'm going to put the bottom one on. And then I'm going to close it with this. So I'm going to put a magnet on the top part of this square, and then put a little bit of Tyvek over top of it so it doesn't catch on anything. So I'm just going to put one magnet. Okay. And then I've just got a spare piece of Tyvek. I'm just going to put it on here. We've already got some adhesive on here, some score tape on here. Just gonna trim the excess. Okay, and now I'm gonna let one other magnet kind of find its buddy and put some score tape on that. Maybe. Okay, and then just kind of line it up. To adhere that other magnet in place. And now I'm going to poke a hole. So I want to make sure that this is going to be able to swing out of the way. Okay, that's perfect. So I want to make sure that it doesn't go past the bottom of this, but I want to make sure that it's out of the way of this other one opening. Go down just a tiny bit more. That's even better. Okay, so I've just got my pokey tool kind of like where I want my hole to be and just kind of play with it, and I had it there originally and then I just moved it down a little bit. So if you move the pokey tool down, then that means that this will swing down just a little bit further. See? So it's got a little bit of wiggle room now. Okay, so I'm gonna punch a hole in there. And get a brad. Putting the brad through, and then I need to make a corresponding hole onto my piece of blue paper. So I'm just gonna do that with my pen. So now I know where to make that hole. Excellent, and now we can put that on. Okay, so that goes through the hole. Open the tines on the other side. Okay, now we can add that other piece of blue paper, so that's going to swing out of the way and allow these to open. Right, got some purple in the pocket. I'm going to put this piece here. This collection was a little bit tricky to work with just because it's so patterned that there was times where it was like you kind of need the solid cardstock just to break up the pattern. Otherwise it was just far too busy and it almost was like confusing to look at. So I'm going to put this in here. And then I've just got plain white over here. And then when you open this up, let's close that back up. Okay, so then I've got these on the inside. And then, oh, I need one more piece of paper. For anyone unfamiliar with inking, this is all I do. I just take my blender and just kind of go along the edge, and it just gets rid of the white core of the paper that you can see and just kind of gives it a more finished, polished look, almost like a vintage kind of feel. This page is a little bit thicker than most of the other ones. It's got a little bit more going on with it. This is of the Distress ink lifting techniques that I did. This was definitely my favorite one. I absolutely love this one. If you haven't seen it, there is a video on how I did that, so I will link that down below. I actually missed this particular one. I kind of missed in the video. I stopped recording because something I was doing wasn't working, so I stopped recording, and then I did that, and like, why did I stop recording? Okay, so I think I'm good now. You open that, but I just need to cover, so that goes there. I need to cover the tines here, so I might just put something like that down there. Then I feel like I should probably do the same thing up there. And then I need something here. I haven't decided. I kind of want to put this in the center, but it's getting really thick, so I'll think about that one and come back to it, I think. That's meant to go like that. That's like that. And like that. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do anything else. I might just leave it like that. We shall see. But that is page 4.